Now, for those that don't know your history, because a lot of times when you talk about Murder Inc., you talk about Irv Gotti.
Yeah.
But you're actually Irv Gotti's business partner?
Yeah, that's my brother.
Yeah.
We started as his partner with Murder Inc. So yeah.
So how did you guys initially start Murder Inc.?
Bam. Murder Inc. is Irv's baby. Right? So Murder Inc. started from a production company, basically, called Top Dog Productions.
Okay. Didn't know that.
Yeah, and I was actually at the time managing Top Dog Productions and managing my brother at the time.
Your brother was a rapper at some point?
No, he's a producer.
Okay.
He was a DJ. He DJ'd. Irv DJ'd. He never rapped.
Never rapped.
And let me tell you something, he could. We was this close. I was this close to having him make a rap album.
Okay.
Because he had some shit, but again, we didn't do it, but that's another story.
Okay.
But Irv's a producer, and he started producing, and we started getting placements on everybody's album, basically.
Okay.
And Tommy Mottola came to him and said he wanted to give him a record deal. He first told us he wanted some beats, but it was really a record deal. And that changed everything.
Okay.
And mind you, we wasn't thinking we're gonna go and get a record deal. Like, we was just working.
Okay.
We just working, head down working,
Okay.
getting money.
Who were some of the people that he was producing for at the time?
Oh man, we produced from Mariah Carey to Jennifer Lopez
Okay,
to
so you guys were doing the best of the best.
yeah, ODB. Oh man, yeah, Osiris, God bless the dead.
What was your role during this time?
I was his manager at the time, and I was handling all of the publishing end of his business from the Top Dog Productions.
Okay. So
And I was bringing in all the artists or producers. I was going to the labels to get the placements.
okay. So at what point did the idea of Murder Inc. come around? Was that before Ja or after Ja?
Ja, we already started, and we didn't have Murder Inc. yet.
Okay, so you guys...
If you go to Ja's first album, you'll see Murder Inc. was just... We was in the process of creation, that creation of Murder Inc.
Now, were you guys with Ja during, what was Ja's first Cash Money play?
Cash Money Click.
Cash Money Click.
We was with Ja Rule. We the ones who did all of that.
Okay.
Irv found Ja in Hollis, but he found him through a mutual friend we have named Chris Black, Jody Mack. He'll love it. But Jody was a dude that Irv and I both knew, and he had a group called Cash Money Click, and that's when we met Ja.
Okay. So you guys were working with with Cash Money Click at the time, and you guys were pushing Cash Money Click. And I remember hearing the story, I think Leroy
So if
Cohen.
you want to go further back,
back.
Cash Money, you got Mike Geronimo.
Okay, he was in Cash Money Click also?
No, he wasn't with Cash Money Click.
But he was
Mike
working.
Geronimo was the first artist we actually put out. He's the very first. We did a record called Shit's Real.
Yeah. Great song, by the way.
Yeah, it was
I bought that album.
Yeah, and we begged, borrowed, and steal, and stole to get, because back then it was film. It was film stock. It was not digital like now.
Oh, yeah. It cost a lot of money.
Oh man,
to make a video.
So the way we did it was with Hype Williams. Hype Williams was working for Ralph McDaniels at the time. He was just working for him.
Okay.
And he lifted some film stock for us. I don't want to tell you the group. It was a big R&B group that he was taking some footage, film stock from to bring to us so we could shoot Mike Geronimo.
Okay.
He shot that video for about $5,000 that I helped pay for me and my sister.
I remember hearing the story about how, back then you had was it video jukebox?
Video jukebox.
Where you could pay to get a video.
That's Mike G days. That's Mike Geronimo days. So
like $2 or
that was our
something to play a
marketing
video.
game plan. Marketing game plan was every time you see Biggie Smalls or Mary J. Blige video come up, order Mike Geronimo's video. So we knew that's when the people would be watching, because those were huge artists at the time. They were going, so we figured if those videos are playing, people are watching. Let's make sure Mike goes after it. So on the screen, the numbers would come up. It would be a 3-digit code. We got his video uploaded onto that, so we knew our code for Mike Geronimo. And then every time we seen 444 come up, we knew that was Biggie Smalls. Boom, we ordered Mike Geronimo. Every time we seen 555 for Mary J. Blige, we knew, boom, put it, and we started having everyone order. We order that from all over the offices and stuff. I make jokes because I say we probably the reason 900 numbers got banned in offices. Because you used to be able to call in offices and there would be no problem.
And it would get charged to your phone.
It get charged to the office, the company.
Phone,
No more. We blew that up pretty
Okay.
good.
So and Mike Geronimo was a known artist. I mean,
he did really
I bought
well
his album
as an independent.
As an independent.
Yeah.
But it didn't touch what Ja Rule ended up doing.
No.
So you guys were ordering the Cash Money Click song in the same way, right? You guys were ordering that on the box.
We ordered it on the box, and that was just for the exposure. What that ended up turning into. So the biggest thing that happened, that was a great marketing tool, but really the biggest thing that happened with Mike Geronimo to get us the exposure was Funkmaster Flex and Irv's persistence. Irv sat up in front of the Hot 97 for, I'm going to say 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks straight, every day.
Just sat there.
See Flex every day. Flex told him he loved the record, never played the record. Tried to give Flex money, he never took no money. Tried to give him champagne, everything. He tried any bribe you think you could imagine, and Flex denied it, to his credit. And it's so important, and I say to his credit because the minute you could get bribed somebody or pay them to play your record, which artist doesn't understand, I'll have a chimp up here singing, okay?
Yeah.
If I could pay you to play this chimp's record,
right.
That's what. So what value is that? I know they all want it so bad, but if you really want something, you got to earn it. There's no way around it. Mm-hmm. So it's like that part of the game they don't get, and it's like, what good is it? It becomes cheap. The minute everyone knows I could give someone some money and they're going to play the record, it's cheap. Mm-hmm. So you got to earn it.
Okay. So at what point did the Cash Money Click stuff start
Right after
Mike Geronimo?
Right after Mike G.
Okay.
So Mike G was gone, and he went and grabbed up that group, Cash Money Click, which was Ja Rule, O, and Chris Black.
Okay. Now, I remember seeing an interview a while back. It was I think it was like an MTV special or something like that, where Leo Cohen, would watch the box, and he kept seeing this Cash Money Click video over and over again, and he was like, "Who's this Ja Rule guy in the song?"
Yeah.
And I guess he wanted Ja Rule by himself. He didn't want the whole group.
Well, I would say that's his version.
Okay. That's your version.
Irv told him about Ja Rule. I don't believe he found him. Like, Irv brought him Ja Rule. Okay. Right? And the reason, he's very crafty. Like, he's a super smart guy, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And what he did do is while we started a label called Blunt Records with TVT, Steve Gottlieb.
I remember that, yeah.
And that's where we was running all of this stuff through there, independent. So when we had everything going with Mike G, what happened was we got into a bidding war with all these record labels to get signed Mike G. Our brainiac idea at that time was stay independent.
Okay.
The problem was back then, you have no marketing power. You just don't have the resources. And Steve Gottlieb, even though we wanted to keep full control, which we did, but they had no back, no relationships. So everything was really whatever we could muster up ourselves to get done, and we did great. We just we couldn't compete. We was getting pushed off by the majors.
Okay.
And Leo came knocking and said, "Why don't you come over to Def Jam?" And when he did that, that's when Irv was like, "Well, I have an artist to come bring over there too."
That's Ja Rule.
It wasn't just Ja Rule. It was DMX. It was Jay-Z.
Aha.
See, all of these came through TVT. TVT, Steve Gottlieb had all of them. We got records on TVT records with Mike Geronimo, Jay-Z, DMX, Ja Rule on one record.
Okay.
All on one record, and Steve Gottlieb had access to them, but we didn't. Irv was like, they can't. If they was able to compete with majors, he would have had them over there.
They couldn't.
But he knew that, so he would never ask them to sign over there.
Okay. So how did you guys form your relationship with DMX and Jay-Z?
Well, these things is all how to come up with DMX. The relationship with DMX, man. Irv meets DMX through Joaquin.
Okay, from the Rough Riders.
Yeah, Rough Riders. And Y wanted Irv to produce for them.
Okay.
To produce, and they at the time they had the Locks, and they was doing what Locks was with Puffy at the time. So their attention was there. So Irv ends up grabbing DMX, hearing his stuff, and just started making records.
Okay.
And the rest led to one thing led to another.
Okay.
He brought him to Leo.
Okay. Now what about Jay-Z?
Jay-Z, Irv was Jay-Z's DJ.
Ah,
So
I never knew this.
Yeah, Irv was Jay-Z's DJ. He used to go on, so there was an artist named Jazz.
Yeah, Jazzo.
So Jazzo, we put a DJ with Jazzo named Tron. And Jazzo brought us to Jay-Z. And then Jay-Z, Irv heard Jay. Irv would tell you a story. He was driving to Virginia one day with Jay. And he didn't believe Jay writes without writing. And Irv played some beats in the car, and he said it's before they got driving anyway, Jay had the whole song for him and just started reciting the whole song. And man, it was the rest is history. They just never looked back from there.
I mean, at the time, if you were to rewind back to that era with Jay-Z, did you have any idea what you had on your hands? Or was it just another dope rapper, out of a bunch of different dope rappers?
Okay, so there's no way to know you have something as big as he's become, right?
Yeah.
But he's not you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Jay-Z's, again, we used to gamble a lot, and we're both fours. I know he's big on his 4, I'm on my 4.
What does that mean?
He's a December 4th, I'm a July 4th.
Okay.
But, we're on our square. So at the end of the day, when I say that, it's like you knew he was different. I knew, but I could say that about my brother, but it's his family, so no one would think anything of it. But I used to tell my mother, leave Irv alone. Yeah, because at the time, we wasn't making no money, and she's talking about throwing this out. And I told her, I'll go get some money. I'll go work, but leave Irv alone. Because I seen something.
Yeah.
And that's something I told my mother, like, I'll pay for him, basically. And I used to give Irv money for records and equipment. I went to work, and I did all types of jobs, whatever, make money, and give my mother money.
That's what's up.
But leave Irv alone.
Family.
So it's not even just family. It's I seen something.
Yeah.
So even X, I remember Irv when he first played X's record, and he asked me, "What do I think?"
Which record?
It was more almost. I don't know. It wasn't a release record.
Okay,
yeah.
right. It was just something you were working on.
His demeanor on the record, the way he spit, different.
This was very early Jay-Z. This is before Reasonable Doubt and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Well, because Reasonable Doubt didn't come out under Def Jam.
No.
It came out under Chrysalis.
Freeze Records.
Is it Freeze Records?
It's Priority Freeze, yeah.
Priority Freeze.
And Rockefeller, there was a joint venture, I guess, with them. It's Rockefeller, Freeze, and Priority.
So were you guys involved in Reasonable Doubt?
When you say, I don't want to say me, but my brother, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So but he didn't produce
Can I Live?
That's his song.
That's her song.
He produced that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys are working with Jay-Z.
The record that made that album was their first single.
The one
with Foxy.
With Foxy Brown.
Okay. So that record is Irv did that work to get. Now he didn't produce the record. Jazzo did it.
Yeah.
He didn't produce the record. He got the record out to the radio with Kev Lyles. Okay. That's the record that made Def Jam give him the deal.
Okay.
And it's funny because he, Irv walked him into that too.
Okay.
That's really the relationship. So when people say like Irv, because they give Irv credit, I'm gonna use Irv. Okay, they say Irv started with Rockefeller. Irv started DMX. And in the history of business, that is what it all goes back to. The very first way you got started. He got to Def Jam solely because of Irv.
Yeah.
DMX got to Leo solely because of Irv.
Well, at one point, Jay-Z, Ja Rule, and DMX were supposed to have a group called Murder Inc.
Murder Inc. Yeah.
Was this before Def Jam or after Def Jam?
This is during Def Jam.
During Def Jam.
So we all was very successful at that moment. Ja was not as big as he became, but he was doing well, going up. X had just dropped his first album,
Through the Roof.
Through the Roof. Jay is stable. Jay was stable. It's funny because X and Ja both surpassed him with sales, and people may not realize that, but Jay was stable.
Yeah.
He may have peaked and spiked, and he's consistent.
Yeah.
There's something to say about consistency, and I try to explain this to artists. Jay stayed right there. He didn't waver. He didn't move. He stayed at what he does and did it. And he wasn't chasing things like every other artist might have, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. So you guys now had Jay-Z, DMX, and Ja Rule at Def Jam, but you guys then formed Murder Inc. for Ja Rule.
Well,
not for Ja Rule, but Ja Rule was on
with
Murder
Ja
Inc.
Rule.
With Ja Rule.
Yeah, well, it was.
Ja Rule's a co-owner
so you could
of
imagine,
Murder Inc.?
Ja Rule's a part of Murder Inc. Yes. You could imagine how hard it is to deal with three. It was that hard. If he'd have did Murder Inc. before they became big, it would have been done. And that was his vision. That was Irv's vision.
So he wanted
to have
Murder
Jay-Z,
Inc.
That was like his supergroup. So what people don't know is these guys all battled. Ja Rule used to battle
Jay-Z.
everybody. He went around and battled other artists. Like, he was a battle guy. He battled everyone. I'm talking about Jay-Z battled people, DMX battled people. So when Irv found these three, he thought they was very dynamic, each different in their own right.
Were you there? That infamous battle between Jay-Z
I
and
was
DMX?
not. I was not.
On the pool tables?
Yeah. So I know both of those guys. That's family. Both Rock Nation, or Rockefeller and Rough Riders. That's family. So you get the stories from both of them. It got a little hostile.
I heard. Okay, so basically, you had these three entities, but Jay-Z had Rockefeller.
It became an issue of splits. Okay, we do an album. What's the splits gonna be?
Yeah.
And then they got to a point where, he shouldn't get that, they shouldn't get this, and it became a little hard. And then they got to where it was like it was gonna happen, and then it just didn't.
So Jay almost was Murder Inc.
It was a group named Murder.
Okay, there was a group.
Yes.
With Ja Rule, Jay-Z, and DMX.
Yes.
And that was the main focus of you guys, to try to get this group together.
It was one of the focuses. It was one of Irv's, he wanted to do that. That was his dream.
You guys actually had there was a XXL cover.
Yes, on purpose, because he was basically lining it up for that.
Yeah.
And he wanted to go to Jamaica or Trinidad or something like this with 30 tracks and go make an album. Take a month out of everyone's life, go make an incredible album and come back.
Okay.
But it never got to fruition.
Yeah. So Jay ended up doing Rockefeller. DMX was already with Rough Riders.
Yeah.
And Ja Rule
formed
Murder Inc.
Yeah.
The record label.
Yes.
At
the
that
label,
point.
exactly. Well, we already had Murder Inc. at that time. When that cover started, we already had Murder Inc. records.
Okay.
So that's why it was like a double meaning for that cover, because it said Murder Inc. and it was wow, shock value. These guys are on Murder Inc. DMX, Jay-Z, but it was already established. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Irv continued to produce.
Oh, he continued to produce for everybody. And again, in that era, Irv is in the Guinness book, I believe, for having the most number ones in a year, staying at number one the longest in a year, with different records. Yeah. Not one record, it would be multiple records. So basically, he produced for me, I went number one, then you went number one, he went number one, and so on and so forth. I think 48 weeks.
Dope.
Out of 52. Yeah, it's
crazy.
Pretty big number.
Pretty big number. So you guys are focusing on Murder Inc. records, with Ja Rule being the marquee artist.
Yeah.
On Murder Inc.
Sure.
Take me back. Did Ja Rule really, because I remember the first time I heard Ja Rule was on the Can I Get a song by Jay-Z.
Right.
It was Jay-Z, Ja Rule, and
Emil. Yeah.
Emilion, yeah. And then after that, I started seeing Ja Rule. What was the first single that you guys put out?
Holla Holla.
Right. That was, in Brazil?
Yeah.
Brazil? Maybe you want to go to Brazil. Ended up going to afterwards.
You should.
Lots of times. And Holla Holla took off.
Yeah.
I mean, not his biggest hit of all time, but took off.
It did what it needed to do.
It took off. And then now Ja Rule is now a star in his own right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what really changed at the point where now you guys have your own artist on your own label and you're on Def Jam?
When you say what changed, bank accounts, I don't know what you mean what changed. We was making a lot of money.
Yeah.
At that time, it was just really, it was raining.
Yeah.
It was just a great time.
Yeah.
We're in probably the heyday of music, and we owned it.
Right.
Pretty
And
much.
everyone was buying music back then.
Everyone's buying music, going out. I mean, we had a great run. It was an incredible time for us. So,
how many albums did Murder Inc. sell altogether, if you count them
you know,
all
it's
up?
funny. I know the last count, we was over 30 million records.
30 million records
Yeah,
sold.
the last count I looked at, which was probably about, when we're talking about in that era, we're talking about in 2008, we was over 30 million worldwide.
I understand that mindset because I have that because you don't believe in somebody so much, you just joke on them. Like, I'm gonna joke on you. I don't believe you. So I understand it, but I want hip hop, period. To stop the shenanigans with that type of shit. Like, yo, motherfucker, rap, go rap.
My monthly overhead for my household and household employees was somewhere in the neighborhood of $1 million a month I was spending.